All right, so welcome again. My name is Dr. Chandra Carr. I am the Director of Practicum Education here at Wayne State University School of Social Work. And so again, another treat we are in for today. We have with us a special person that is going to be speaking with us. And her name is Addie Williams. And Addie has more than 45 years of experience working in the child welfare arena and also the legal arena and also the educational field. So Addie has it all for us today. And she is a licensed attorney, licensed social worker, adjunct professor here at Wayne State University, and the former president and CEO of Spalding for Children. She has been named Who's Who in Black Detroit as an angel in adoption by the Congressional Coalition and Adoption Institute, and has a Woman of Excellence by the Michigan Chronicle. She currently has a solo law practice, serves as an executive consultant to private child welfare agencies and state governments. She is a faculty practicum liaison here for Wayne State University School of Social Work, and we so appreciate her for that. And she also serves on a number of boards as a board member. So again, we have a treat here for you all today. So we greatly appreciate Addie Williams being here today to share some information with you, to our students. And so I will allow Addie to take it away. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much for that very nice introduction. Can everyone hear me? Am I coming through?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, very good. Okay, so today I'm going to discuss what do you do when you are having issues at your practicum. And I have had the pleasure of being in all three positions. I was an intern, I was an agency supervisor, and now I am a practicum liaison. And so I don't think I've heard every complaint or issue, but I've heard a great many of them. And they generally fall into three categories. And so the first category, I say, is a personal category. Chandra, how do I change slides? Do I do them or you?
You can try and see if you can do it. Push your arrow, see if it does it. If not, I can do it for you.
Okay, I'm pushing stuff and
It's not working, so I'll do
nothing's
it.
happening. Okay, next.
I'll do it.
Okay, so why am I having issues? Well, of course, it's the supervisor's fault. Next slide. And some of the things that I hear is that my supervisor just doesn't like me. They're trying to give me a bad grade. They're intimidated by my superior school skills. They just nitpick. They never meet with me. They're incompetent. They expect me to do agency's work. They belittle me in front of everybody. My supervisor is just plain old unfair. Next slide. Then the next set of complaints generally falls into the realm of it's the university's fault. And in that area, it's usually this is just a bad placement. I don't think the university did a very good job of properly vetting them. I understand from my task supervisor that they didn't know I was even coming. Nobody talked to them about me. And so I just showed up and they were totally unprepared. I am a macro student. This is a micro placement or vice versa. And so those are generally the agency's complaint. Now, there's another area, and these areas aren't exclusive, but sometimes they say it's the agency's fault. And by that, they complain about the fact that the supervisor isn't around. They've been there for 6 weeks. They've had 6 weeks of training and they don't have any cases assigned. Sometimes I've never met my supervisor. I don't know who my supervisor is. They think I'm an employee. They give me all their work to do, and they expect for me to operate as if I am employed by the agency. They expect me to work odd hours and strange hours. There's a lack of communication. I don't know who to talk to or how to talk to them. Uh, this agency is just not prepared for interns. Next slide. And so we have complaints from our students regarding those areas and many more. But guess what? Sometimes the practicum has complaints too. And the things I get from the supervisors are, my intern is always tardy. My intern is absent, and I don't know that they're not coming until they don't show up. My intern is unprepared for meetings. I have asked them to do certain things, and when they come to the meeting, they don't have any of the information. They exhibit negative behaviors during the meetings. And by the meetings, I'm talking about both in-person meetings as well as Zoom meetings. My intern was vaping during the meeting. When you are on Zoom, my intern was cooking dinner. You could tell that they weren't truly engaged in the meeting because they were doing all kinds of things. They were working on their cell phone. They were working on their computer. My intern is often argumentative. I give constructive criticism. Instead of accepting the criticism, they argue with me why what I am saying is not correct. I have interns who are sleeping on Zoom meetings, who are texting. I have interns who fail to communicate. I don't know how to get to them. I send emails, they don't respond, so I never know whether or not they got the emails. They appear, even though I say, please feel free to come to me, they appear to have a lack of understanding of what's going on, but they never say anything until the assignment is due and it's not correct. They refuse to do as instructed, and they constantly give me excuses as to why the task wasn't done. I get a lot from my interns that they have other assignments due that take precedent over what's happening here in the agency. And so this is just a sample of the complaints that I have had from both practicum supervisor as well as intern. So now just some general statements. When you go to a practicum placement, you are there to get real life experience. As I always tell my intern, your practicum placement is where the rubber meets the road. Next slide. You may come into a situation where your task supervisor doesn't know that you're coming. You may have a situation where the organization may not be as organized as you would like for it to be. But you can always get a learning experience from a placement that is not as great as you expected, as well as from one that is excellent. I have learned as much from situations that I didn't particularly care for as I learned from great ones, because I learned what I won't do if I am running an agency or if I am in a supervisory position and I have an intern. So what interns have to learn to do is they have to learn to navigate their environment. You are going to run into people with different personalities, people who you just wouldn't be friends with, and probably wouldn't do things with, but for this is your placement. I have been a liaison for about 7, 8 years. And I have only ever had one instance where I would say the supervisor just did not like the student. That was the only time, and it was very clear to me what the situation was. One of the things you know, or you should know, is that your practicum liaison is also a social worker. So we know how to do things like look at body language, look at what's being said, look at what's going on in your practicum to determine whether or not that is that type of situation. Generally, it's a combination of issues that if we were proactive, we would not be having meetings regarding the issues that have come up or that you are presenting. And so, what I'm going to say now is how do you reduce or eliminate issues or concerns in your field placement? And the first thing I would say is learning plan, learning plan, learning plan. That document needs to be completed by your due date, which I believe is September 20th this year. That is a very important document that if interns, along with their practicum supervisor, complete it timely, would eliminate 95% of the issues and problems that crop up later on when the learning plan has not been completed timely. Your learning plan identifies your tasks and the learning experiences you want to gain. That learning plan should have clearly delineated what your task and assignments will be and a time frame for accomplishing them. If those things are in place, then you can always go back to that document to have a meaningful discussion with your supervisor about what your current issues are. For example, if you have in your learning plan that you will have training for 4 weeks, then after the training is completed, you will be assigned 3 cases by November 1st. If your cases aren't assigned, you can meet with your supervisor and pull that document out and say, this is what we agreed on. Can you help me tell me when I will be getting cases? So if you have your learning plan completed with that information in there, you can always pull that document as a source of beginning discussion. Your learning plan is a fluid document, so things change. You may get an additional assignment, and you want to make sure your learning plan accurately reflects everything that you're doing. And so it can always be updated and it can always be changed. Now, along with that, I want to talk a little bit about supervisors. Supervisors in your agencies are busy people. The agencies are doing the university a service by providing our interns with real life experiences. And the university also is doing the agency a service by providing students who have learned ways of doing things, who can help them actually complete work that they are assigned to do, or the student can do projects that the agency would love to do, but don't have the time or resources to do it. And so it can be a very win-win situation for both parties. However, agencies and agency supervisors and agency workers are very busy people. And sometimes you have to be proactive in getting with that supervisor. Don't give up. You call, they say, I'll get back to you. They don't get back to you. Don't give up. Call again, because they do get busy and they do get involved and they do forget. So you want to be very persistent in making sure you meet with your supervisor and that you know who your supervisor is. Now, one of the things that I suggest doing, you have in your learning plan, you want to put in there meetings. When will you be meeting with your supervisor? You want to have that information in there. I suggest that you have an agenda when you are meeting with your supervisor. And I have a template that I sent out to my interns to help guide that meeting. Next slide. So I have a template that I give them, and these are the things that I say, make sure you include in your agenda and that you go over at every meeting every week. If you do this consistently, that will eliminate a lot of the issues we have. Number one, placement, date, and times. Make sure your supervisor knows the days that you're going to be in placement and get from them and gain agreement on the times you'll start and the times that you'll end. You want to make sure you know whether or not there are days that are virtual. And if there are, what are those dates? And if there are dates that you must be in that placement. You want to get that straight in the very beginning, because so often I get complaints of the intern didn't come on placement dates. And the intern says, well, I don't know what the placement dates are. I don't know what times I'm supposed to be there. If you have this on your supervisory meeting agenda, you will know. And if something comes up and there's some changes that have to be made, if you go over this weekly, you'll know what they are. Meeting dates and times. Are there meetings that you need to attend to? And what is the date and times of your meetings with your supervisor? So if your placement is Monday and Tuesday, and Monday at 9 o'clock is your supervisory meeting, you want to have that written down at 9 o'clock, so that you'll know every week that's what you're supposed to do. In the instances where something comes up and you can't meet on that date, then you need to notify the supervisor. Supervisor needs to notify you if the meeting has been canceled. If there are mandatory meetings for you to attend as a member of an intern at that agency, then what you need to do is to make sure you know what those meeting dates are and times are, and if they are falling on your placement dates. Because if they're not, then you need to have a discussion. Is this something that you can possibly attend? Or if it's not possible, that you know up front, and decisions can be made in terms of how you may be able to accommodate those meetings. Maybe they do recordings and you can see the recordings at other times. Now, I just saw a question pop up. I'm not real good at that. Dr. Carr.
I'm answering them. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
Okay.
Keep talking. I got
Okay.
it.
All righty. Thank you. Communication method. How does the agency want you to communicate with them? Do you communicate through email, through text, in person, What is it that how is it that they want you to let them know if you're not coming in that day, or if you're going to be late, or if you don't understand an assignment? How does the communication method happen? Discuss that in your meeting with your supervisor. Confirm. Uh, are you having any problems with the way I'm communicating? Is there something you want me to do differently? Next, review your assignments. What assignments have they given you? They haven't given you any. This is the time that you say, what are the assignments that you would like to complete? That you would like for me to complete? Now, mind you, you have completed your learning plan, which should have contained the tasks that you are supposed to be doing and the time frame for which they are to be completed. And so when you are reviewing your assignments, you can say, I want to know when I will be getting my next case. According to my learning plan, my next case will be assigned November 15th. I just want to make sure that I am remaining current with my plan in terms of my assignments. Document review. This is important because you have time frames for the completion of your praxis, your process recordings. It should never come to a point where 3 weeks before the end of the semester, you are working to do all of your process recordings and praxis. That just is not acceptable. And it does happen. You should be reviewing with your supervisor every week the status of your documentation. If you're having an issue with understanding how to do a process recording or a praxis, and you haven't had your site visit with your agency, with your faculty liaison, you can always, there's information on the website. You can talk to your supervisor, or you can contact your faculty liaison. They can help you understand what you need to do. It should not be a situation where you are 3 documents behind and then you report, I don't understand how I needed to do it. You should contact your liaison as soon as you realize I have no idea, and you shouldn't be in that situation. But if you have no idea how to complete that, please contact your faculty liaison so you can get some assistance. Documents, due dates should be reviewed weekly. If there is an issue with you completing it timely, you need to discuss it with your agency supervisor, but you also need to let your faculty liaison know. If I know that you're going to be late with this first process recording because you got ill and you haven't been in class, then you won't be getting my little emails regarding your not being timely with your documentation. You really want to review timeframes with your supervisor, and you need to stay on top of that documentation. It should never come to midterm and the learning plan isn't completed and you haven't completed your first process recording or praxis. That just should not happen. The next thing that you have on your supervisory agenda is issues and concerns. If you are having an issue or concern, the first person that should hear about it really is your agency supervisor. Need to have a discussion about what it is that you're concerned about, and together you all work to determine how can you address this issue. If there are, or there may be some times where you don't feel comfortable discussing the issue with your supervisor for whatever reason, that is when you call your faculty liaison and explain to them what's going on. Together, we'll discuss strategies that you can use, whether or not the issue is such of a major concern that you want your liaison to facilitate a meeting between you and the supervisor. Hopefully, it has not gotten to that point, because if you had been reviewing the supervisory meeting agenda weekly, those issues that start out minor should not progress to a major concern. But as I said, if for some reason you don't feel comfortable talking about it with your supervisor, your faculty practicum liaison is there to help you strategize what can be done and to help facilitate a solution. And if it is too big an issue for them, there's always Dr. Carr that can be brought in, your university advisor. There are other things that can be done. Our goal is to help you have a successful placement. Next slide. Okay. And so you should be able, you are having your weekly meetings with your supervisor. You should be able to discuss anything with your supervisor that's a concern to you at that placement. You should be able to contact your practicum liaison at any time. They will let you know what are the hours and the parameters for contact. But you should contact them anytime you are feeling uncomfortable, you have an issue you don't think that you can handle alone. Anytime there's an issue, even if you have worked it out with your supervisor, if you feel it necessary, just let your practicum liaison know. And it's not that you're asking them to do anything, that's just an FYI. I will often notify the university when I have met with individuals and we've addressed an issue and we've made decisions, just to let them know that this was the issue, these are the decisions that are made, and this is just for information purposes only. This helps in case down the road another issue comes up, we will know the background to that particular issue. It is important that you have those meetings. Sometimes I get from interns that it's very difficult to have the meetings, or they're having meetings with their task supervisor, which is the individual who may be assigned to you to oversee the work that you're doing. But you may also have a professional supervisor who is that LMSW or licensed BSW who will meet with you to go over the ethics and professionalism of the profession. And sometimes you may not be meeting with that person, but you need to meet with them weekly, as well as a task supervisor if you have a task supervisor. And so sometimes what I need to do is I need to meet with the supervisors and go over that again. That's something that I review during our site visits, but it may be something that I need to go over again. Your practicum liaison, they have and will meet with you at least one time for a Zoom or in-person meeting, but they may meet with you more often, and they can meet with you anytime you feel a meeting is necessary. You can always email them or give them a phone call However, whatever they have presented to you as the desired means of communication. And again, we don't want to bombard her with every little bitty issue, but Dr. Carr is there. And she is there to help make your placement successful as well. Next slide. So, together, whatever the issue is, we can work it out. Our goal is to make sure that your field placement is successful, that you have a good learning experience, that you are able to garner from your placement the skills that you wanted to obtain, as well as to provide them with resources that otherwise they may not have. We want to make sure that it is a win-win situation for both the placement as well as for our intern, and that you as the intern are in a quasi-employee student kind of position, and that we want you to be able to work within that agency to show what a benefit you can be for them. So that is the end of my formal presentation. If there are, I don't know how we're doing questions, Dr. Carr. Are you going to answer all of them? Are there questions that people want to ask me?
Yes,
I
yes.
don't know how
So,
we're doing on time either.
oh no, we're good on time. If anybody has a question for Addie Williams, please feel free. You can do the raise hand function, or you can come off of mute. If you want to put something else in the chat, please feel free at this time.
I have a question for Addie.
Yes.
Yes.
In terms of training versus actually jumping in and maybe receiving your own cases, what is an appropriate timeline for that? Like when you say training time, what I guess I need a little bit more clarification.
Okay. And different agencies do things differently. There are some agencies where before you get a case, there are certain training modules you must have. And in those instances, they will provide you with, and it's usually online, they will provide you with the means to obtain that training. And usually there is a time frame connected to that. And so to get the training needed before you get a case, it may be 24 hours. And so once you've completed that 24 hours of training, they are then able to assign you a case. And so if the 24 hours will be obtained in the first month, then you can say cases will be assigned October 1st ongoing. You can say there over the course of the year, there will be 6 cases assigned. These are things that you work out with your particular field placement in terms of time frame. There may be another agency that your training will consist of you shadowing an individual for the first month or the first 2 months, and you working with this individual on cases, and they allowing you to assist them in doing an intake and an assessment and a placement.
That's what I'm going to be doing, and it's going to be about a month. That's why I was asking if that's appropriate or not appropriate.
And
So,
and and so appropriate, it depends, like I said, it depends on the agency and what they are asking you to do.
no,
So,
that's fine. I just want to make sure
okay,
I'm on track. I mean, I'm fine with the timeline. I don't have any issues. I'm coming in
okay,
as a foundation student. I'm happy to learn whatever they want to teach me. I just I just want to make sure I was on track. That was all.
Yeah. Yes. So, however, some agencies, the training time may be longer. Some agencies, it may be shorter. It
Mhm.
depends on the agency, and oftentimes it may depend on their funding source. They have external mandates that may say before anyone can see a client, they have to have this training, and be certified, and this, and
Okay.
this, and this. So it just varies. But those are things that you discuss with your placement supervisor coming in the door so that
Mhm.
you know.
Well, I just completed my second day and we already have a meeting set up for next Tuesday. So she put it on the calendar. So
Very
I
good.
think I'm on track. Like I feel pretty secure here.
Very
So
good. Very good.
thank you. Thank you for your answer.
You are most welcome. Any other questions?
Yes. See a hand raised. Yes.
Hi, Dr. Carr, how are you?
Good.
Okay, I'm in a unique situation, I guess you could say. So I kind of started my placement, kind of not. And the person I was in contact with is currently on vacation. Before he went on vacation, however, I had attended a workshop related to suicide and all this kind of stuff. And I'm supposed to create a presentation for the staff, which I've kind of started. However, I was in contact with, I think, the assistant, and they were supposed to do an intake interview with me. I couldn't attend at that time because of personal reasons, so I rescheduled. I emailed her. She said if I needed to reschedule, just let her know. So I did. I haven't heard back from her. Do you just recommend I go ahead and just create the presentation for the staff as he originally requested, or do I wait for the intake interview? Because he was supposed to be in person or over the phone.
Are you going? Are you going to the placement?
Not physically, not yet.
Okay. So besides the person that's on vacation, you haven't been in contact with anybody else at the organization?
No, I sent an email to the assistant, which I originally in contact with before, because she was supposed to schedule an interview. And I said, okay, I'm available this week all through the day. Just let me know what time I will come on in, or you can just call me over the phone like you suggested. But I haven't heard anything yet. However, there's another person I could potentially contact, but I don't want to miss the line of communication up because it's two different persons.
But you saying interview. What is the interview for? Is the interview
They describe it as an intake interview.
for a client?
No, they have I from what I've understand, because I didn't get all the details, because she was supposed to give me all the details. But off the top of my head, what I know is they have these meetings in the morning where you discuss certain things, where you sign a confidential information and you discuss certain things with, I guess I don't know if there's a client, but you discuss certain things from it's about 5 hours, 6 hours in the morning to a certain time and you
Oh, yeah, it's
discuss
an
certain
intake
things.
interview. Yeah,
Yeah.
if it's that long. It's an intake,
Yeah,
yeah.
so but that's how she described it to me. I didn't get all the details because she was
Okay.
supposed to contact me and give me more details. But the ed person that I was in contact with gave me this assignment before he left for vacation. He's coming back, I think, in 2 days, 3 days, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So I should just go ahead and create the presentation.
Yeah, if that's his expectation for you to have that done by the time he gets back, I would definitely have that done. So
Yeah.
when he gets back, it would be complete. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm not sure what to do about the, the intake interview now because I haven't heard back from her.
Yeah. So yeah, if that's a separate assignment, then I wouldn't worry about that one if you haven't heard back. But if he definitely gave you an assignment to do and he is
Okay.
looking forward to that assignment when he returns, I would definitely make sure that that is completed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Carr.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Megan?
Hi, thank you. I have kind of two questions, and I'm not sure which one of you might be able to answer this, but thank you. Um, Firstly, I'm probably not alone in this, that trying to fit the internship around not only school but my real job. Um, and I admit it's been a little bit frustrating still, even mid the first week of the semester, not having really any idea of like when I'm going to be needing to be where. Like, I just don't know anything about what the demands on my, schedule are going to be specifically. And so I wondered if you might speak to like what is a normal thing to expect with that when it comes to the practicum, because I don't want to assume if it's an issue if this is actually like very normal for students to be in this position at this point. I expected, I guess, to hear earlier. Um, and then another thing I was just thinking about is there an opportunity for students to provide feedback about their practicum experience, like at the end of the year? Um, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so Dr. Carr, do you want me?
You can start and then I can chime in after you.
Okay, so let me go again with your first. The last one is real easy. Yes, you will have an opportunity to provide feedback on your practicum experience. They do that every year. And they do it not only for the agency, but they also do it for the liaisons. And so you can provide feedback that is used to look at liaisons as well as organizations in terms of the experiences they provide.
Great, thank you.
And your first question was
More or
whether,
less, what's normal in terms of finding out what the schedule demands are for the placement?
okay. And this is again where meetings with your practicum supervisor is important because every agency is different. They are different in what they will allow students to do or not do. They are different in the hours that they have students working or not working and the task assignments. And so you need to meet with your supervisor and explain what your situation is and look at what can be done to accommodate both the agency and you. Typically, interns have 8 hour, 2 days, or 3 days, straight 8 hours. But then there are exceptions made for maybe your internship is from 9 to 5. But they are having a board meeting from 6 to 8 that they want you to attend. And so you can work out things such as you would go to that meeting. And so on that day you had 10 hours. And so the next day you may only work 6 hours. Some interns and the university likes for you to work at least 4 hours at a time. And so there may be situations where people are going to their internship 4 hours for 4 days a week. Sometimes intern agencies have the need of interns on the weekends. And so that's something else that can be worked out with your agency. It's normal to have anxiety. It's normal to be anxious. And it's normal to be concerned about meeting with supervisors regarding certain things. I see mute dropped up. Okay. But these are things that you discuss with the agency supervisor during your first meeting, all of that kind of stuff, the days, the times, the placements, the expectation of the agency, what your constraints are. How can we work around my constraints? Those are all things that you discuss when you first go there. And I always tell my interns, the other thing to discuss, especially the fall semester, what is the holiday schedule like for this agency? Because if you are seeing a client every Monday, and Monday is your field placement, and the agency is closed on Monday, do you have to come in? And I tell them that is something you need to work out with your agency. Clearly, you don't want to interrupt a client's schedule or progress. Is that something that your agency will allow you to take off that time? If not, what time are you allowed to take off? When can things be equalized or worked out? Those are all issues that you need to discuss right when you're going in, so you don't get to the holiday schedule and you schedule your cruise and the internship is saying, oh no, you need to see this client on this day at that time, and you plan to be on a ship chilling. Did
And
that?
I want to
Okay.
piggyback on that. What you're saying, Addie, is that um, I tell the students when they meet with me and I meet with the BSW students, the first thing I tell them is when you go on that interview with that organization, make sure in that interview you talk about your availability, and that it will help determine if this is the right agency for you. And a lot of students do work here at Wayne State, and that is cool. That's not a problem. But there are a lot of organizations that do evening and weekend hours, and I stress that too. I just had to place another student today at an organization because of her job, which is fine, and they do weekend and evening hours only at this organization. And so that worked perfectly for her because she works a regular 9 to 5 job and she cannot work during the day. I mean, she cannot do her placement during the day. So there are organizations out there that will work with the students and their schedule. And so I tell students that too, to try to help ease the anxiety, that you can do your placement, get all the hours you need. And although we say, hey, you can work 2 days or do your placement 2 days a week for 8 hours, if that doesn't work for you, that's still okay. At the end of the day, when December 20th comes, we just want you to have all your hours. So whatever that looks like for you during the week, just make it happen during the week. So when December 20th comes, you have all your hours. That's what matters. December 20th. That's what matters. So whatever you and your practicum instructor come up with for you to get your hours during the week, you all make that plan together. And I tell all BSW students that get the plan together with your practicum instructor during the week so that when December 20th comes, you have all of your hours. And a lot of times these practicum instructors are very open, very lenient, very understanding, and they are really willing to work with you. But if you don't say anything, if you don't have the conversation with them, if you don't talk to them, then they're just gonna be like, oh, okay, 8 hours, let's go. That's what they're going to say and that's what they're going to think. But you need to have the conversation with them. And like I told everybody who was with me on day one, the first thing that I said was communication. And you got to have that communication and that conversation with your practicum instructor in the beginning. So just make sure you do that, and I'm sure they'll be willing to work with you. And that will really help alleviate some of the stress and the anxiety about the schedule.
Yeah, I appreciate all that. I hear you. I will say though that I think I've talked to like 3 or 4 other students who have the same placement as myself, and they're all experiencing the same thing, and we're all trying to reach out and we're all trying to have these conversations and not having a lot of success so far. So I think that's just it's been challenging. We have our orientation on Friday, and we're all like hoping that we'll walk out of that with a lot more information. But yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, we're certainly all doing our best here. So thank you.
And if you find that, I'm glad you said that, if you find that it's a particular organization that's not being reasonable with the students as a whole, then you need to let the liaison know. Because that is a problem. And Wayne State partners with organizations that will work with their students. And if we have an organization that is not working with the students, that is not being fair to the students, that are not being helpful to the students, then we don't want to partner with them. We don't. So you, again, communication, you have to let the liaison know. And we have one liaison per organization. And that's why we keep one liaison with the organization, so that one liaison has all of the students together. So if all of you all are having that same problem and that same issue at that one organization, you all should have the same liaison. So you all need to let your liaison know, hey, we got this issue. They are not being flexible with us. They are not working with us. We got this problem. You all need to let the liaison know. And I'm sure whoever that liaison is will let me know, and then I can dig into that, because then that's not fair. Okay, so I just want to put that out there too. If you guys are finding that there are problems or issues at the organization where they are not working with you all, please communicate that with the liaison so we can deal with that. Okay, so whoever participated in that session we had yesterday with Kim, and she talked about the liaisons, that is another part of their role. If things are not happening at the organization that's being unfair, please let them know so that they can let me know. Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions, concerns, thoughts?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
So if I'm the only person at my organization, that means my liaison is like he kind of only works with me.
For that organization, he definitely will have more than one student. But if you're the only one at that organization, then yes, at that organization, he will only work with you. But he definitely has more than one student.
And more than one organization.
Yes, and more than one organization. Yes, absolutely.
Any other questions?
I'd just like to say thank you. This has been very beneficial for me. Yesterday, I did the afternoon. Today, I did both sessions. And I had a lot of issues last year with field placement. And I hate that I didn't know these things already. So I appreciate you all taking time out and giving us this good information. It's beneficial for me for sure.
Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome. I'm glad that we could be a help to you all this year. All right,
Any
awesome.
questions? Wow. Was it that clear?
Well, awesome. So good. I'm glad that everything is working out. I'm glad that we'll be able to help. Tomorrow morning, we will be talking about the assignments and how to utilize and navigate IPT. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Thank you again, Ms. Addie, for helping us and being with us today and providing great information and knowledge for us. Again, you guys can mark this down for an hour today for this session. You can put it on your time logs. Give us about a week to be able to upload it into Canvas, and I will definitely be able to send you all an email and let you know when it has been placed there. So again, thank you all for coming. We appreciate you and your time, and I'm glad this has been helpful for everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.